When I was thinking about what should I talk about on Christmas Day, that's kind of a tough one. Because Christmas Eve, we talk about, all of the normal, the natural things, the story of the birth of Jesus and the wise men and all of those kinds of things. But I thought I would kind of reflect a little bit on me. And what Christmas has kind of turned out or meant to me. And maybe some of you can relate to it, I don't know. I remember when I was a kid, Christmas, of course, as a kid was all about it, or all about receiving. I couldn't wait to see what was under the tree and wait to see what was inside these packages. Did you ever have that opportunity, that fun opportunity where you looked at the boxes and you pick them up and you try and guess what was in it? I mean, it was really a lot of fun. But then it would become annoying because you had to wait so long in order to find out what was in it. When I was a kid, I remember sending Santa a letter. Actually, if my mother was alive and here with you today, she'd tell you about an episode where I wrote a letter to Santa only to find out that my mom didn't mail it. Oh, my goodness. I was livid. I mean, little guy, right? I'm like, I'm not going to get anything for Christmas. Because my mom didn't mail the letter. When I was a kid, I remember that Christmas really was all about me. It was all about what I was going to get, or the things that I wanted. And that was okay. That was okay. So I grew a little bit older, and I remember as a teenager, again, Christmas was pretty much about me, It was all about what, things that I still wanted, things that I needed. My life was changing, and I had newer responsibilities. I had obligations. I was involved with many other activities, and it seems like the busier you get in life, the more stuff you can use. I remember playing when I was a teenager, I played in a rock band, and oh my goodness, the list of equipment that we needed and wanted and could use was endless. Because, you might have a certain microphone, but there's another one that's even better. You have an amplifier, but there's another one that's bigger and better. There's always something that you could use. That's what Christmas was all about, was these bigger items that I could put to good use. And you know what? I deserved them. Okay. Some things, when I was a teenager, I had to save for. That was a new experience for me. It was a new experience, really. I need to save so that I can buy somebody else something. Girlfriends aren't cheap, are they? I mean, that was quite a reality to figure out. That, I was working at a gas station and going to school and playing in the band, and don't get me wrong, I was very fortunate. I had some money coming in, for my age. A lot of my friends, they didn't have the kind of income, if you will, that I had, because I just had those opportunities. But still, the thought of putting some of my money aside to buy my brother something, that just didn't sound very well, because after all, it was all about me. What do I give that would make them happy enough, but cheap enough for me to have? I mean, that was the question. You see, that was the theological question of the day was, how can I cheap out on this but make them ecstatic? How do I do this? As a young adult, I remember Christmas became very much about all the social activities, all the parties and all of the places to go, the get-togethers and the celebrations at school. This was a great one. You go to school and you celebrate Christmas rather than doing any work. That was really neat. Think about it. No more history class. Hey, let's celebrate Christmas. As a young adult, Christmas was also about going to church. And as I've explained to you before, when it came to Sunday morning, time to go to church, I was usually the first one in the car because the girls were all dressed up. You know? It was a fun place to go. I remember as a young adult working extra jobs and extra hours and all, again, to make extra money in order to do something special for somebody else. I remember those days. And they were huge lessons to learn that, you know, we've all heard this, you know, it's better to give than receive, right? I never really bought into that. I do now. It's much more of a blessing to give than it is to receive. Would you not agree? I mean, we're all at different places, right? As I became a middle-aged adult, of course, Christmas became, you know, when kids are coming along, that's what Christmas also kind of unfolded to be. It was the opportunity to care for other people, to share, you know, your love and your affection, your resources, to gift others in your family, and to do something special. But when I look back on it now, really what it was an expression of love. It really was. It was an expression, it was a way to say, you know what, I love you and I care about you and I want something good for you. And I'm willing to give to you. I remember that sometimes giving at Christmas would become a financial burden. Have you ever been there where you spent way more than what you could afford? Huh? Where it was a joy for a week and a burden for 51, right? I mean, it was. And then you get to the end of the 51, it was Christmas again, and you're like, oh crap, I haven't saved anything yet, you know? So we do it all over again. I've been there, okay? But you know what? I wouldn't undo that at all. Because it was not only a learning experience, but also, again, that ability to be able to give someone that you love so much. It means everything. It means everything. Absolutely everything. We had that joy this morning as we opened family gifts, and again, it's a blessing to be able to share and as an expression to say to my loved ones, I love you guys. Tons. Today, of course, Christmas is really not about me. I think in many ways I've gone from a worldly perspective to more of a spiritual one. You know, as you remember the gift that God has given to us in this cattle stall. And you also recognize the fact that you desperately need that gift. That you are, or I should say, a desperately flawed individual that without this gift that God has given to me and to you, I would really be living a hopeless existence. I could have all the fun I wanted. I could do all kinds of things, but in reality, it would be a hopeless existence because I'm just never, ever going to be good enough. Not good enough to stand before God and say, I deserve to come into your presence. I deserve to come into the kingdom. I deserve to come into this place called heaven, which is going to be my eternal home. Has anybody else here ever experienced these kinds of Christmas thoughts or things in your life as you've grown older? Have you? So what's changed? Again, in a nutshell, I realize that for me, this gift that God has given to me is everything. Absolutely everything. The ability to look at growing old and being able to face that with all of its difficulties as well as blessings. But knowing that I have a beautiful future ahead of me, regardless of where I am. It really is a tremendous gift. It really is. I wanted to share with you today, excuse me, not only some of my own thoughts, but I wanted to share with you some things about this beautiful gift that other famous people have said in the past, and kind of look at their perspectives too. The first one, and Lori will put them up on the screen. Or Jean, right? It's amazing how she can do that in the second row, isn't it? God may thunder his commands from Mount Sinai, and men may fear, yet remain at heart exactly as they were before. Now let those words kind of sink in for a minute. God may thunder his commands from Mount Sinai, and men may fear, yet remain at heart exactly as they were before. But let a man once see his God down in the arena as a man, suffering, tempted, sweating, and agonized, finally dying a criminal's death. He is a hard man indeed who is untouched. Would you agree with those words?
Oh, yeah.
Those words come from a man by the name of John Bertram Phillips. 1906, he was an English scholar, translator, author, and a clergyman, as he reflects on the gift of God. Another quote says, I know men, and I tell you that Jesus Christ is no mere man. Between him and every other person in the world, there is no possible term of comparison. Alexander, Caesar, Charlemagne, and I have founded empires, but on what we did rest the creation of our genius. But on what did we rest the creation of our genius? Upon force. Jesus Christ founded his empire upon love. And at this hour, millions of men would die for him. Another phenomenal quote about who this person of Jesus is. A quote from Napoleon, who of course was a French military leader, political leader. Another one comes from a man it's very unique. No one else holds or has held the place in the heart of the world which Jesus holds. Other gods have been as devoutly worshipped. No other man has been so devoutly loved. I think it speaks volumes about who this personhood of Jesus Christ is. That one comes from a minister by the name of John Knox from the 1500s. He had a Scottish minister, theologian, and he was the founder of the Presbyterian Church in Scotland. A man who was completely innocent offered himself as a sacrifice for the good of others, including his enemies, and became the ransom of the world. It was a perfect act. Anybody want to take a shot at that one? Gandhi. As he reflects on the person of Jesus Christ, this child born into the world. And the next one goes like this. Jesus of Nazareth, without money in arms, conquered more millions than Alexander the Great, Caesar, Muhammad, and Napoleon. Without science and learning, he shed more light on things human and divine than all of the philosophers and scholars combined. Without the eloquence of school, he spoke such words of life as were never spoken before or since, and produced effects which lie beyond the reach of orator or poet, without writing a single line. He set more pens in motion and furnished themes for more sermons, orations, discussions, learned volumes, works of arts, and songs of praise than the whole army of great men of ancient and modern times. That's quite a statement, and that comes from a man by the name of Philip Schaff. He was a professor back in the 1800s of church history. One of my favorites is this one. I am a historian. I am not a believer, but I must confess, as a historian, that this penniless preacher from Nazareth is irrevocably the very center of history. Jesus Christ is easily the most dominant figure in all of history. H.G. Wells, back in 1866. Again, these phenomenal people recognizing the personhood of Jesus Christ, whom we celebrate his birth today. Another one that I really like is this one. I've read in Plato and Cicero sayings that are very wise and very beautiful, but I've never read in either of them. Come unto me, all ye that labor and are heavy laden. Excuse me, that one comes from Augustine, as far back as the 300s. Another very interesting one is this. He was a child prodigy. Jesus is the God whom we can approach without pride and before whom we can humble ourselves without despair. I love that contrast there, that we can approach without pride and before whom we can humble ourselves without any despair in our hearts. Blaise Pascal from the 1600s, who was a French mathematician, physicist, inventor, writer, Christian philosopher, and so forth. My favorite of all of them is this one. A man who was merely a man and said the sort of things Jesus said would not be a great moral teacher. He would either be a lunatic on the level with a man who says he's a poached egg, or else he would be the devil of hell. You must make the choice. Either this man was and is the Son of God, or else a madman or something worse. You can shut him up for a fool, you can spit at him and kill him as a demon, or you can fall at his feet and call him Lord and God. But let us not come with any patronizing nonsense about his being a great human teacher. He has not left that open to us. He did not intend to. Anybody know who that came from? C.S. Lewis. C.S. Lewis. Another one. Despite our efforts to keep him out, God intrudes. Remember last night we were talking about the darkness and how the light just intrudes into the darkness. God intrudes. The life of Jesus is bracketed by two impossibilities. First of all, the virgin birth and an empty tomb. Jesus entered our world through a door marked no entrance and left through a door marked no exit. A man by the name of Peter Lawson. He was a paleontologist. You remember that excavation back in the 50s? Or no, I think it was later than that, of Sue, that dinosaur called Sue. He's the one that discovered that. Another one here. It is as if God the Father is saying to us, since I have told you everything in my word, who is my son, I have no other words that can at present say anything or reveal anything to you beyond this. Fix your eyes on him alone. For in him I have told you all, revealed all. And in him you will find more than you desire or ask. If you will fix your eyes on him, you will find everything. For he is my whole word and my reply. He is my whole vision and my whole revelation. Anthony Conjarius, who was the priest emeritus of the Greek Orthodox Archdiocese of America. Some of the brightest minds, I should say, in history have walked away from the concept of the virgin birth, walked away from the image of God being born into the world as an infant, and walked away saying all of these types of phenomenal things. He is who he is. He is who he says. He doesn't leave it open for any interpretation. I like the one that says he's either a madman or maybe a poached egg or whatever, but you got to make the choice. So So today, as we celebrate the birth of Jesus, everyone here has to answer the question, who is he to you? What would you say about it? Would you look at Jesus in awe? Would you look at Jesus, or do you look at him with doubt? You see, it's the question that really determines eternity for each and every person here. Do we trust him? Do we love him enough to trust him? Or is there too much there to trust? You have to make a choice. You have to choose. I believe that you're here this morning because you've chosen to believe the statements that all of these wonderful people have said. He is the Christ. He's not a madman, and he's certainly not a protege. Father, I pray that as we continue to celebrate the birth of your Son today, that each and every one of us would simply glorify you, your Son, your name, and honor you for all that you've done in our lives and in this world. And I pray, Lord, that in some way we might help someone else to learn about your faithfulness through your Son, Jesus. Amen.
Amen.